Over the past couple of years, my passion to actually help with the eradication of world poverty and more importantly, to identify why there is a larger contingent of people who are extremely rich and then there is in excess of 719 million people worldwide, according to the World Bank, who are living in extreme levels of poverty. And so I actually set out to read several books, trying so hard to actually digest several research along the line. And the problem actually came down to two things. And that is one, the thought patterns of these individuals that were actually surveyed, or actually their actions and inactions, which to a larger extent is actually attributable to their habits. And so in today's video, we are going to look at the 8 multi-millionaire habits that can help you and then improve your ability to steer yourself towards the attainment of whatever goal that you set for yourself to attain in life. And so if you're new here, my name is Nana. I hold a master's degree in business finance, and on this channel we discuss everything personal finance and personal development. And so without further ado, we come to the first habit that can help you to actually build wealth, and that is the ultra rich believe in the Pareto principle, and otherwise known as the 80-20 rule. So according to research, most of the people that are actually in the 1% of riches actually believe in the Pareto principle, in that they believe that 80% of the outcome in life is actually attributable to just 20% of the input. So for example, if you're a human being, there are several factors or several values that actually helps you to actually become the version of you that you are currently. However, only 20% of those versions or 20% of those values actually determine your actions and your inactions. So for example, in my case, there's only 4 core values that I actually prioritize when it comes to any issues that I'm faced with in life, and that is the values of commitment, of respect, of integrity, and loyalty. These are the 4 core values that I focus on, and any other value is actually subordinated, in that I believe that when I possess these core values and I focus on them and I build upon them over time, it is going to actually increase my chances of actually attaining any goal that I set for myself to attain in life. And that is one thing that the ultra rich focus on. Even in the production line and in their companies, there are only a few products sometimes that bring about the massive profits, and so they identify those things that actually help them to actually maximize their talent, their skill set, their money, and whatever opportunities that they may come across in life. And that is what helps them to actually cut out the fluff and then more importantly focus on the things that improve their ability to build wealth over time altogether. This brings us to the second habit, and that is they begin with the end in mind. So one of the key things that you need to know in life is that anytime that you set out to achieve anything, you have to actually identify, but more importantly, define that goal, and then more importantly, break that goal down into tiny actionable steps that you can actually do or execute in accordance with in order to attain that goal. And this is what Napoleon Hill calls the definite chief aim. So he believes that human beings generally would have several other goals or several other things that they may wish to have in life. However, what you need to know is that you've got to prioritize those needs of that goal. So ask yourself the simple question: which one of these goals is actually very, very important to me? And if you're able to identify that goal, ask yourself the further question: what can I do actually every single day to make sure that I improve my ability to attain this goal on a daily basis? And that includes you having to come up with a plan, action out that plan, and then ensure the consistency, but more importantly, the discipline to stay loyal to those goals. And every single thing that you set for yourself in life to attain in life would actually be made possible to you. This brings us to the third multi-millionaire habit, and that is they apply faith, and then more importantly, they visualize their goals. So one of the key things that you can do is to actually see whatever you're praying for or you're working so hard towards. Most people actually go in there with doubt, or they don't actually believe themselves to possess the requisite skills or the abilities or the necessary competences to actually steer themselves towards the pursuit and the attainment of their goals. And that is one of the key things holding several millions of people back in life, in that people believe that, there are several people out there or specific families out there that riches actually belong to them, and that when they look back and then they look at how their family is actually set up or the competences or the qualifications that members of their family actually have, it limits their belief when it comes to their personal goals, in that they believe that they don't actually possess enough to actually pursue their financial goals and even to become successful. And that has a very negative impact on their ability altogether to execute with a confidence in order to attain their goals. So if you you truly wish to become wealthy and then attain any goal at all in life, then there's one thing that you need to know. You need to see the end right from the beginning and then visualize whatever thing it is that you want to attain in life before you even actually get closer to attaining those goals. This brings us to the fourth habit, and that is the habit of continuous learning or self-investment. So one of the key things that Napoleon Hill actually goes on to highlight is the fact that you've got to have some level of specialized knowledge if you really wish to become wealthy in life, in that you have to focus on something and then subject yourself to education, consistently improving along the line, in that anytime that anyone or anything comes up insofar as that specific industry or that specific problem is concerned, people should be able to look at your competences and then associate you with that. Warren Buffett actually goes on to say that the best investment that you can ever make is in yourself, and that is simply because no one can actually tax that. As we sit here, every single thing that I've acquired by way of subjecting myself to education, right from the uni level through to the master's degree level, is something that is just up here and no one can actually take it away from you. So the best thing that you can do if you truly wish to become wealthy is to subject yourself to education, and it's not only limited to having to go through uni or going to college or whatever. Education can be formal, and then sometimes it can be informal by way of having to listen to podcasts, reading books, and then subjecting yourself to several other people who can actually give some form of tuition or direction when it comes to any goal that you set for yourself to attain in life. This brings us to the fifth habit of the ultra-rich, and that is the synergise. So one of the key things that you need to know is that no man is an island, and no man, for the avoidance of doubt, is a repository of knowledge. And so the things that you're actually seeing as a way of a stumbling block, in that it hampers you from the attainment of your goals, might actually be someone else's strength. So your weaknesses might be someone else's strength, and the person's weaknesses might be your strengths. Now, when the two of you come together by way of forming an alliance, what Napoleon Hill calls a mastermind alliance, it actually delivers a third mind, in that third mind would be able to come up with solutions to your problems, but more importantly, the problems that the opposite people or the people that you paired with or you form the alliance with actually have. And that actually positions both of you in a better position than you were before joining the alliance. And that is what the ultra-rich know. So if you're to think about it, the big people out there in life, the presidents, the multi-millionaires, the billionaires, they actually go out every single time, they hang around, and that is not simply because they just want to be in the company of each other. Their networks actually deliver several other opportunities to them, and they have several other recommendations by way of actually having to deal or form an alliance with several other government officials or other rich people, and that is what makes them extremely rich. And so what you can do at this point is to find people and surround yourself with people that can push you several steps positively towards the attainment of your goals. This brings us to the sixth habit of the ultra-rich, and that is they seek first to understand and then to be understood. And that is one of the 7 habits of highly effective people recommended by Stephen R. Covey. If you truly want to get along with people, and then mind you, anytime that you set out to build wealth, all you're going to do is to deliver value to people, and then in exchange of that, people would actually give you money in exchange of that value. So all you've got to do is to manage resources, but more importantly, manage people. And you need to have that confidence, but more importantly, the ability to listen to people and to process feedback, because everyone out there wants to be heard. And so that is one of the secrets of the ultra-rich. They actually have ways and means of listening to people and then processing that feedback by way of improving their services and their goods altogether. And that also ensures that they are able to deliver the best of services and the best of value to people who consume at the extreme end of the production line, and that increases their ability to earn more and to build wealth altogether. This brings us to the 7th habit of the ultra-rich, and that is they are extremely proactive. So one of the key things that you need to know is that they don't joke with their plan, and they don't plan for just several years ahead. Sometimes they plan for decades, sometimes even centuries. There are companies out there that have century-long missions and vision, and that is what actually guides their actions and their inactions, their investments, and every single thing that they do or do not do. And it even includes people that can actually come in the form of shareholders or stakeholders or whatever that they may define to fit whatever goal that they have for themselves. And so that is one of the things that the ultra-rich do. They think several miles ahead, and that is why opportunities find themselves in their portfolio. And and that is what actually grants them the ability to take advantage of several things in the economy, and in the long run they end up getting richer and richer, whilst millions and millions of people actually wallow in extreme levels of poverty. This brings us to the 8th and the last habit of the ultra rich, and that is consistency and dedication. So one of the key things that you really need to master is the power of consistency and determination or dedication, and that is not something that is extremely easy to do. Anytime that I talk about this, I get emotional because I've been through several challenges and several failure insofar as building companies or even getting to become successful in school is concerned. Sometimes you've got to actually grind with several hours and sometimes several weeks, several months with no physical evidence of whatever your inputs have been over the years, and that is one of the most difficult positions that you can ever be in. But with the right consistency over time, consistency will beat talent, and you might actually increase your chances of becoming successful due to the law of averages, and that is one thing that you want to master. But stick around long enough to actually see the realization of whatever goal based on whatever input that you've actually made along the line. And so if you found value in this video, kindly smash the like button. It really does help with the algorithm, and then consider subscribing because I'll be shooting several videos down the line like this. And so thank you for spending time with us, and see you in the next video.